Welcome back to the Prophets of IT, where the sharpest minds in IT show up to tell you what's actually working, what's quietly failing, and what you should have stopped doing 6 months ago. I'm Jim Punzenberger, your host. I built ManageProspectingSystem.com because I got sick of watching talented IT companies down the road doing better than us marketing wise, and now I help IT companies create predictable pipelines, and we do that through our three-pillared system, which is the Managed Prospecting System. So after the show, check out ManageProspectingSystem.com. And I'm excited to have Dave with me today. And he's somebody that's going to help you challenge to think about the way you think about sales teams, selling, and possibly yourself. He helps CEOs and revenue leaders build what he calls special forces sales teams.
Yeah.
Handpicked, highly talented, and aligned around clarity, collaboration, and predictable growth. He's got 57 years or so, a lot of years, finely tuned curiosity, a psychology background, and he's coming to us across the pond from the UK. Davies, say hi to the audience.
I will do, Jim. Look, thanks for having me today. And as Jim has already said, I work with CEOs and their teams to drive revenue engines. As Jim said, typically building special forces user handpicked, ruthlessly trained, with all the tools and the systems you would expect a special forces unit to have. And I spend most of my time teaching people to have a much smaller unit, whether that's a direct sales engine or a partner community, and working much closely with the individuals that you have in that group to drive revenue growth and sustainable revenue growth. Based here in the UK, and currently located in a tiny little village called Brimpton, which is somewhere near Reading, which is somewhere near London.
Great. Sounds
middle of nowhere.
I know where London is. I have no idea where the other towns you said are.
Well, if you go further and further out of London into the woods, Jim, imagine that's where I am.
Okay.
Deep in the darkest Berkshire countryside.
Yeah, like for me, you probably know where Chicago is, I'm guessing. And the same thing for me, you go like from Chicago, you go up into Wisconsin, and then we go to Milwaukee and past Milwaukee, and then you get to where I live in Campbellsport. So it sounds familiar. Sounds similar.
Not radically different.
Yeah.
Sticksville.
Pretty much, yes. So let's jump right into it, Dave. And let's talk about your truth bomb. You mentioned that music. The one you mentioned is music to my ears because it validates the entire outbound prospecting model. You said the biggest misconception is that cold calling is dead. No, I've built my entire business around the idea that outreach works. Tell our audience why cold calling is very much alive.
Well, I think you've got some difficulty. One is, a poor branding exercise because it's not really cold calling. I mean, it was when I started out. My very first job, I had a telephone on the desk with a dial on it and a copy of a telephone directory. And I dialed and smiled selling desktop PCs back when they had less power than my iWatch has. But, back in the day, that was as powerful as they got. And just ring a company saying, do you need computers? You don't? Okay, thanks. Have you got a typewriter? Do you want to replace it? I mean, that was cold calling. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew my business. There was no marketing engine really apart from me and my voice, which some people found annoying, not everybody. But, shift to the modern age. Who's cold calling? We know who our ICP is. We know who we serve. We know what we serve. We know how we serve. We're smart in terms of our research. We've got AI sat on our desktop. It can even tell us the words to say to the individual based on the fact that their LinkedIn profile looks like this or be like that. So at best, it's tepid calling. So I think you've got a branding problem there. And secondly, picking up the phone and ringing people still works. It wouldn't work if people didn't have telephones, but they still do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a massive fan of the old, oh, I've got a copy of Lusher and I've got your mobile phone number and I'm going to ring you in the middle of dinner approach. But calling people in the office, if you've got the right approach and you're not triggering the horrible gatekeeper, as we all describe this evil person that's only job in life is to hate salespeople and downtread them.
Uh-huh.
But their only job in life is to make sure the right people go through. And so if your term and tone looks like you're the right person to go through, then you're in and you're talking to an individual who makes decisions in their business. And the reason you're in that call is because you're about to solve one of the biggest problems they're dealing with in their life, in their business today. Otherwise, you've got no right calling them. So as long as all those things are true, it's cold for about 13 seconds, probably the bit where you say, hey, did I catch you at a bad time? That's cold. I should probably tell you why I'm calling, who I am and why I'm calling. And once you've done that, unless you're calling to waste their time, unless you're calling to peddle something that's of zero value, it ain't cold.
Yeah. So that's definitely, I think, a different perspective than a lot of the people in the industry would have. Uh,
Not the dial and smilers.
yes. Uh, so, um, any other tips around your, you know, uh, how to make cold calling more effective?
Make a mental elevation before you pick up the phone. What I mean by that is thinking differently. Cold calling's dead. Everybody hates salespeople. Nobody wants to talk to salespeople. If you consider listening to all that garbage, mostly written by marketers, then why would anybody do the job? The salesperson's job is to help that prospective client solve the biggest problems in their world. And so elevate, who's got the problem? It's not you. Your job is ringing people to make them aware of something they haven't found yet that's going to solve a big problem in their world. Otherwise, don't ring them. You've got no right calling somebody if you're not bringing value. But if you're bringing value, you have we used to describe it as a difference between missionary and mercenary work. Mercenary work is you do what you're told because you're paid to do it. Missionary work is you do what you're doing because you care about other people. And the reason to call people is because you care enough about their business to solve the problems they're experiencing. Elevate yourself. You're at least their equal. When you're calling a CXO in the business, they're still the person with the problem. They still put their legs in trousers the same way you do, their shoes on the same feet. They breathe
Yep.
in air like you and I do. They require food and shelter and warmth, and like they're a human being,
Right.
as we are. The trouble with salespeople dehumanize themselves. They demonize themselves. And so they pick up the phone because they were told to, hating people, hating life, hating their job. And boy, can the prospect smell it. The prospect can smell commission breath from a mile off. And if you're just dialing and smiling to dialing for dollars, nobody's going to take your call. And even if they do, they're going to be polite and say, leave it with me, I'll think it over, and never talk to you ever again. But you thought you got one.
That makes
So
sense.
it's a tough sport. So be tough. American football's a tough sport.
Yes.
So be tough. Everything is tough in reality. So be tough and level up, straighten out your spine, believe in yourself, your business, who you serve, what you serve, how you serve, and yourself, and you're in a great place. But if you're just doing it because it's something to do and it keeps you away from, I don't know, some other job that you really don't fancy, that's not a reason to be in this industry. Be professional.
So let's shift gears here a
Mm.
moment to your what I like to call your $1 million learning moment.
Mm.
And you mentioned, oh, yours might be the most relatable answer we've gotten in a while. You said your biggest mistake was uh, was arrogance, uh,
Yeah.
my way or the highway.
Mm.
Has always been is what the mistake was. Uh, when did you realize that that was a mistake, and how did you go about changing that?
Often is the answer to when did I realize it? Often, Because it's a mistake that we make often, right? You get so caught up in your own self-belief that do it the way I did it, do it the way I did it. I can do it, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. And we do all that stuff. And we forget that another individual's got to carry the baby after we've made that statement, right? They've got to go off into their world and do it. And I think, fell in love with my own BS. Had a system, developed a system worked for me. You just taught it, repeat, repeat, repeat. How hard can it be? Without realizing that, you're going back to some of the things I said a minute ago. When you're reaching out to people, you've got to bring yourself with it. You've got to work out who you are. And I found that when I made the switch to being less dogmatic about, just do this, just say this, and more working with people, coaching people on developing their own style around a framework, you're giving them some framing principles, but then building their story, and you just watch people fly. I spent 25 years desperately trying not to make a mistake without realizing that not making mistakes is a mistake, because you don't actually learn anything, and all you do is talk about how brilliant you are, and there's not a lot of room for listening, hearing, growing, and developing in that place.
So any tips on how to become, you just mentioned like listening and growing and such. Any tips on being better at those things?
Get coaching. Here's the problem, right? No, I'm exactly the same as everybody else's
Yeah.
journey. Good salesperson. I never say great because there's always one better, but probably only one. But a good salesperson, the arrogance, right?
Yeah.
Good salesperson. I was a good manager, but it wasn't, it would carry me so far. Build a small team and you get away with it. The team gets twice the size, you're getting away with it less and less. Go on a leadership training program of repute. Probably one delivered by some of the best recognized sales development companies on the planet. I won't name them. I'm not biased anymore. I used to be. And in that is how you learn to coach. That's where they teach you how to coach. Less of what we think leadership is follow me, and more of what leadership should be is how can I help? How can I serve you? How can I help you get better? Because every single individual I improve actually ultimately improves me over time. But sales managers, much like me, sales leaders, sales directors, VP of sales, senior VP of sales, mostly get to where they are by being good at sales. And that is not a useful skill when you're coaching and developing teams and building out collaborative teams, especially when you're building out partner channels where you're working with people who you didn't hire, you can't fire, but still have to get the best out of. Learn to coach and then practice your coaching skills day in, day out with anybody you can possibly find. You become a better coach, you are naturally a better leader. Going to leadership training doesn't make you a good coach.
So do you, it sounds like, I think you mentioned that you're a coach yourself.
I am, yeah. I coach lots of different individuals in various walks of life, from board level right down to SDRs.
So what's got you excited in your world right now of coaching?
So I do a lot of really interesting things. I work with some people who I've watched grow businesses from one or two people in a room to one that's over 400 employees global. I also get to work with some people. I'm very lucky that I get to work with the UK apprenticeship program for sales, technical sales specifically, and watching people step into this industry at the age of 18 and really take the time to develop them, certainly for their first year or two, to go off to be superstars in the businesses they're working with or the businesses they go on to next. And so that's what excites me most, because most of those people, like our SDR community, are just starting out in their career in the most brutal part of sales, the outbound, the outreach.
Yes.
It's a rejection sport, far too often played by optimists, and helping them to learn some of the simple things like how to get a gatekeeper, if you will, to put you through to the person you're trying to talk to, how to handle a conversation at the age of unknown peer between the age of 18 and 21 with a 55-year-old dyed-in-the-wool, run multiple million-pound businesses, an entrepreneur who's floundering because he's got a great idea, but he's got no sales coming in, and teaching them how to have those conversations at that level, believing that they're an equal to that individual. Now, that's the stuff that gets me out of bed in the morning.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like exciting. That would be an exciting thing.
It's tons of fun. And it fills my inbox full of, I just tried what you said and it worked. Well, I'm not going to teach you anything that doesn't, would it? My career wouldn't have lasted this long if I was teaching stuff that doesn't work. But it's that revelation to them, because they're thinking, well, yeah, but that works for you because you're you. And then when it works for them, it's theirs. It belongs to them. That's what I love.
So, if somebody, I guess, I think it might have piqued some people's attention with what we've been talking about. If there's somebody who was looking to learn more or reach out to you, that'd be a good way of getting in contact with you.
I live like any good professional salesperson. Now, most of my external, not day job stuff, lives and breathes in and around the LinkedIn. And so I'm relatively easy to find. If you find a slightly hairy, bald-looking man with a shiny head called Dave Davies on LinkedIn, you're probably in a good place.
Uh-huh.
That's probably me. And anybody that makes a connection and wants to then go on and do the next thing, which is appreciate you connecting, would love to talk, I'll always find time for anybody. And the reason I find time for anybody is because I learn so much out of those calls, or get given a problem that I've not heard of before, or a territory I've not operated in for a while. And so actually every single one of those calls that I take actually improves me. They get something out of it too for free, but I get a lot out of it. And that helps me to go and develop the people that I'm working with. But yeah, LinkedIn. Sorry, that was a short story long, but yeah,
LinkedIn. So
LinkedIn.
Davies on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I'm the only one on there because I get tagged into. I think yesterday I was in Canada, Cape Town, Spain, and in the US, in 2 locations in the US, all in the same day, tagged into events. How that happens? There's only one Dave Davies apparently, but I can't be everywhere.
Yeah. Well, great. So, well, what we can do is include the link to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes too. So that'd
I'd love
probably
that.
be easy, make it even easier for listeners.
I'm a Lion. Nobody remember what that is, but Lions were the original group of LinkedIn open networkers that were supposed to build the LinkedIn network.
Yeah.
So I used to be a Lion, but I don't roar so much these days.
And well, before we sign off here, your sales team looks more like rent-a-cops than special forces. The problem isn't your people; it's probably the way that you're coaching them. So check out Dave Davies on LinkedIn. Follow the link, and until next time, keep challenging the status quo, keep building, and also stay hydrated and caffeinated. Bye for now.
Bye.